Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today is Friday that I'm recording this, and it's time for another episode of Frightful Fridays, where I'm going to be doing something a little different. Normally I do movies. But I was searching around for some stuff, couldn't find anything, started to watch something, didn't much like it. So I decided to do a review of a TV show that I just got done watching the first 2 episodes. It's called Grotesquire. It is on FX. It's on, Wednesday nights, I think. And it has, what is her name? Nicey Nash as a detective, Lori Tryon, who is trying to solve what turns out to be a series of murders that are really, really, really gruesome. So let me get kind of a breakdown of this. It is done by Ryan Murphy, the same guy who did American Horror Story. So I guess this is his new show. It's not, used to be him and another guy doing American Horror Story. Now it's just him on this. You have her and Courtney Vance, I think his name is, an actor who you've sure have seen him in many things, because he is a very good actor and has been in a lot of things, and some other people which I have never heard of, and supposedly Kelsey, the football player from the Kansas City Chiefs, is going to be in this sometime. But the first murder has some sort of religious aspect. So you have a nun who shows up. She is a member of a of a group dedicated to this social justice, fighting for social justice. So you already know how this is going to work, and she does crime reports on cults and crimes for a Catholic newspaper. And so when you see lately, in the past decade or so, especially in Brian, this guy's shows, when you have a Catholic in like a member of the clergy, whether it be a nun or a priest, in these shows, they are one of 2 archetypes. They are really foul, horrible people, you know, masquerading, as a, member of the clergy, as a priest or a nun, or there's just these wildly, you know, outside of the belief system person, who is not traditional, so to speak. And this nun starts out to appear to be that way. You have the detective, her husband, and her daughter are all just incredibly horrible, just not good people at all. The detective is a hardly even functional alcoholic. The husband is in a coma, and then you find out some other stuff about him in the second episode, which he's probably the least bad of the three, but he is a bad person. And their daughter is morbidly obese. I mean, and she wears clothes that are meant for somebody about a quarter of her size, which is, and gets all defensive when her family says, "Hey, you got to do something about this," and the standard line, "Oh, I'm not going to die. You're fat shaming." It's just ugh. So the whole family is just disgusting, really bad. The murders don't even really seem to be, because there's, in the first 2 episodes that have been released, they came out back to back. There's about like 5 of them so far. Sort of seem to be secondary to the plot, almost, in the sense that yes, they are investigating the murders, but they're paying more attention to the relationship between how she's going about, the detective's going about trying to do the investigation, her interpersonal relationship with her family, the nurse, this horrible nurse who is taking care of her husband who is in a coma, the doctor, the nurse, the nun who seems to be more knowledgeable about how to investigate a crime than the detective who has been doing it for supposedly years, because she's cleared 400 murder cases in her career, but can't understand basic things like you don't let a civilian into the crime scene and walk around and do stuff. You don't, have her, feed her information that only the cops are supposed to know, so she can, write the stuff down. And it's all kind of hard to keep in my head, just because there's some of the stuff just doesn't make any sense. Because it's just a jumble of events that happen in this that aren't really even connected in things. Like you've got this raging alcoholic detective who should, by any measure of standards, not be allowed to work. I mean, she's, drunk 3/4 of the time, driving around in her car, and then she supposed to be experienced as an investigator, but doesn't know what to do in a lot of circumstances. So takes this nun who she has known for 5 minutes into her confidence and is asking her, so, what do you think about this? And I don't see how anyone that bad could be someone who has cleared 400 murder cases in this time. And then the whole aspect of they introduce a priest into this, and he is the the other side of what I was saying earlier. He is the one that you see they're just making him like this creepy. He's going to be a bad person, and then they show that what kind of a fucked up person they're making him. And then they don't even bother getting some of the language on the stuff right. Like, he keeps referring to the articles that this nun is writing, bringing people into services. Catholics don't have service, it's mass. You think if you're doing something involving, church, in the Catholic Church and stuff, that you get some of the, basic language, terminology correct, but I guess he doesn't seem to give a rat's tuchus. I mean, the whole thing is just blasphemous and I normally don't get bothered by stuff like this, but this is just, it's poor writing, unlikable characters, situations that make no sense, like she comes home from work one night, someone's in her house, and she's in this kind of like a little quiet neighborhood. She's in her house. She chases the guy out of the house, pulls her gun, and she starts shooting at the guy as he's running down the street. And she's been drinking. No mention of it from any superior who we can't even tell if she has one or not. You don't see her talking to a boss. She's discharging a gun multiple times at night at a supposedly fleeing suspect. None of the people in the neighborhood come out to do anything. There's no brushback from her department on it, and then it's not brought up again. So it's bad writing, bad, just, and just this blatant kind of attack on Catholicism and religion in general, sort of. It was, and the acting, the Vance guy, I've seen him in other roles, and he's a good actor. I've enjoyed him in other roles, but in the little bit that you get to see him when he's, in the flashback where you see him not in the coma, I don't even think his acting was able to do much with the story, with the writing, because it just wasn't good. So you combine, the bad writing, the bad story, the characters who are just unpleasant and boring, and a plot that seems to be just, okay, here's the setup, and you know where it's gonna go. I think I know how it's gonna end. I don't even know if I'm gonna finish watching the show, but I think I know who is behind these killings, and it is sort of reminiscent of Seven, in the sense that it's really like methodically, supposedly planned out, and really violent, and has a religious nature to the killings, but nowhere near as good. So I cannot recommend this show, and was a waste of 2 hours as far as I'm concerned. And I seriously doubt that I'm going to watch the third one. I might. Can't say that I'm going to be 100% sure that I won't watch it, but it's I don't want to say horrible, but it's close. So I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. And I don't even really know why I'm giving it a 1. It should be less than that. I can't recommend this show at all. So yeah, it's frightful in the sense that it's frightfully bad, frightfully insulting to anyone with a brain or who likes good stuff. So yeah, let me know what you thought of it if you watched it, and like, subscribe, most of all. Try and enjoy your horror.